No. No, thank you, Mommy.
Okay. No, thank you, Mommy. So that's where she was first introducing this. And you saw, he's a little guy that likes the trains. So you saw, that's his play. He wants to have his trains. That's what he likes to play. He was up in the ante a little bit with her, hitting the train like, I'm not going to do this. And did you hear what he said? Remember I said there's no, no, no? The fight, flight, or fright, I'm going to tell you, no, 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 I can't do this. He's already learning to do some of the no, no, no. He isn't at fight. He rarely hits. He's more, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. He's a screamer. That's no, no, no. He was getting frustrated with his play. He couldn't get something to work, but he didn't say, Mom, can you come help me? What happens to him? He has a neural hijacking. The hippocampus and the amygdala and the reticular activating system fires on him. He reacts before he thinks. He can't get out of that emotional brain, so he screams. How's that working for him? It's not. So we set up that card, and this is your first behavioral support where I have placed simple behavioral picture cards in various areas. I want to read down here for a minute. What you have to do with this, though, the key thing is in various areas. You cannot put these charts in one place because what you want to have happen is, and I'm going to show you. Here's one, and I'll come back to that slide just so you guys can see. This is what it looked like. It was this simple. He can be sad, he can be mad. Do not kick, hit, or scream. Ask for help. So we made, 6 or 7 of those. You can draw them by hand. You don't have to be fancy. We had 6 or 7 of them, and I typically will give these to my parents, and I say, I want you to take these home, and I want you to put them in different environments. I want one in the bathroom. I want one in the living room. I want one in the bedroom. I want one in the car. I want one in his playroom. Why?
Generalize.
One is generalize, and remember when I first started and I said when somebody hits, bites, or kicks, we start doing this? Okay, we are keeping them in that emotional brain because they're already there, and all we've done is increase that alertness. You cannot talk to a child when they're in the middle of that behavior or that emotional blow up. Okay? That's right. I heard that. That's right. So what you do is as they're walking around all day, and Cooper would do this, and he's in a good mood, and he's happy, and he's playing, he would walk around with his trains and go, I can't hit, I can be mad or sad, but I can't hit, kick, or scream. You'll hear him, I can't scream. I'll ask for help. And then he goes on. So he's seeing it when he is not in his limbic system emotional brain. Suddenly, it goes cognitive. That's right, I'm now thinking before I react. So that's the key thing with these things. You can't just have one and expect them to throw it, rip it, get mad at you just like Cooper. And Mom stayed with it. Okay? I've got another clip of him. If a child gets overstimulated in a specific area, try to give them short breaks. Okay, again, remember, Cooper was getting very frustrated. So what we've learned is, remember first order body temperature? He gets hot so quickly because when you're mad, what happens to you? Your body temperature increases, your blood pressure, first order brainstem, your heart rate races, right? So I've got to do something. So we keep water around for this little guy. Cooper, you want your water? He now will ask before he even comes back or goes into the preschool, can I get my water? Now remember my thing about a lot of places won't let stuffed animals come in? That's the other issue. I always say, oh, please, 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 I hope your teacher will let you bring in water. Because he's the kid that needs it more than anybody. Because I've got to help that body temperature come down. I have to do something, okay? And that's a real simple strategy, is keeping that body hydrated and keep it cool, okay? Because they are, all right? So it's a trick. Now here's one that's really neat. When verbal or physical aggression occurs, Take time the next day to talk with the child about what happened, keyword being prior to entering that situation or play area again. You want to give them an idea of what they can do. We're always busy telling them what they can't do. Why is this important? This, again, you guys, goes back to the limbic system in your emotional brain. He's had an outburst in a certain area. All right? It happened. You feel before you think. The very next day as they arrive, somehow, some way you want to say very calmly, very slowly, come here, come here. And they come over. You're like, whew. Pause. Remember what happened yesterday? Thinking brain. Okay? I'm not putting him into fight, flight, or fright. I'm not yelling at him, right? I'm not getting him in that emotional brain. Wow. Yesterday you got so mad. Key gestures. Pause. Because remember, they've got to start using language and understand, oh, I did get mad. Is that what happened to me? Because I have to be aware, my first line under self-regulation, I have to be aware of what that was. Oh, you've got a word for it. I was mad. Okay? You were mad. You threw the blocks. Whew, can't do that today. We can build, we can stack, and you're giving them plans. You're giving them things to think about before they get back into that situation. So you want to wait till the next day, and you want to do it in this nice what? Nurturing, supportive. You don't want to do it this way, or if you do, you want to be very soft and real soft-spoken with that group of kids. And it's going to be a little bit of work for you. But over time, you're going to start seeing this little person get strategies, come up with solutions, problem solve, stay out of the limbic system, okay? First order, cognitive brain. Remember, I want support the bottom so we can help that top. Okay. There's some real neat areas. Sesame Street has some really cool videos. And we've got a bunch listed on the web pages, though, but like Breathe, Think, and Do, and it's like, breathe! And then there's a Cookie Monster about putting off, immediate, like, you want a cookie? And so he's got a couple there where Cookie Monster has to wait for the cookie, so you can use that for children. But there's some real neat things like that. Okay, so we already went through that. Now let me show you calming tricks. This is pretty self-explanatory, a lot of these. But when you see this, you're going to say, gosh, Julie, thanks a lot. What'd you help me with? What I'm helping you with is, if you happen to have your handouts, go back to second order strategies, okay? Remember when I talked about visual and Cooper really responded to visual? What I think happens to a lot of our children, and I will say this to parents, we keep talking about second order, second order, second order. Underneath there was oral, hands, and movement. For some reason, over the years, everybody thinks that movement is what you want to give this group of kids. For some of them, it works. Playing outside, get their energy out of them, rocking slowly. For some kids, that works. What we're missing out on is the second order strategy of using my hands. Because when I use my hands, typically where's my body? On the floor, sitting at a table, it's in a small space. And using my hands usually means I'm engaged in purposeful play. I'm doing something. I'm engaging my environment. It just calms your body. We use Play-Doh, water tubes. Nobody has to talk to me. So there are things that don't necessarily require a lot of cognition. You don't have to build with the Legos and stuff. Now, my older kids, that's what we get out a lot. We use Legos. We're going to use this strategy so you can just shut your system down a little bit. But look what I have for young kids, you guys. Water tubes, mats. Do you guys know what aquadoodles are? All these, it's a mat that it's only water, and you write on it, and then it disappears, and you can use it again. Kids love that, and it just shuts them down, and it brings them into this quiet zone right here, as opposed to always being up and moving. When you're moving, you're increasing heart rate, respiration, blood pressure. I need you to go the opposite. I need you to lower that heart rate, lower that body temperature. So you have to use things that make them hang out in this zone of play. Okay? Play is so important. So we need Play-Doh, gack, putty. Don't have to really have a lot to do when I'm playing with these things. I'm just using my hands and I'm using vision. Very, very calming for these kids. Kaleidoscopes. If there's a quiet space for those items, it's even better. So it's away again from the active play. It's where these kids can retreat to. These are the water tubes. I cannot tell you how many kids will come in from after school, go into my little therapy room, and they grab that toy. And you know what they do? Zone out. They push it, they watch it, nobody's talking to them, and I just wait. But it's just got a little button, and the water is calming. You can get so many of these and have them just in this little area, and kids will play with those and just stop their bodies for a little bit. Get quiet. So here's just pictures of some real simple things. That's the Aquadoodle. Somebody didn't know what it was. It looks like that top middle. But see, these are things that literally are helping you with second order strategies. Do I encourage calming objects? Stuffed animals, a favorite toy, a blanket, water bottles. Move things away from the high traffic, bean bags, floor cushions, pillow piles, child-sized rocking chairs. Okay? Now, here's the biggest thing. Remember where I said the next day, these are the things you have to remember, that you also, in your environment, you are a calming tool. And so we have to remember that. I'm a calming agent for these children by using simple, like I'm not talking like this all day like I am today. I talk very softly. I do slow body movements. I do a lot of gesturing, and I pause. I pause long enough for them to process what it is Miss Julie's talking about. Okay? There's lots of times I have to count higher than 5 in my own head so that I don't follow them. So I do. There's lots of times I'm just, in my head, I'm thinking, wow. But I just have to really stop and stay in that zone. You cannot react to this group of kids, okay? Stay as calm as you can. And see, I know you guys are all thinking, well, yeah, we know that. It's hard to do. You just have to keep practicing it and practicing it and practicing it. But if you also have the supports in place, it's going to become more and more natural for you to have yourself be a calming agent. Okay? Now, you want to see Cooper again? This is how it's evolved. He's still at the table, isn't he? He's still got his train. Here he is now.
Cookie!
Cooper, what does your sign from Miss Julie say?
It's okay to be sad or mad, but don't scream.
He's 3. Do you see Cookie? Mom, can I have a cookie? Instead, it was a scream cookie. And look, because those picture cards had been around there, and the thing I want to point out too is, did you see that Mom was the calming agent? She said it, and then it went what? Silent. So she learned, okay, Cooper, what does the sign say? And he's learning self-regulation. To this day, I mean, it's a year later, he still has those little pictures around the house. And that's the thing that we forget to do, is we start pulling it away and thinking they don't need it. Well, I need my watch every day. I need my calendar every day. They need this to keep them in that zone. You can do things with not throwing blocks. You can make a simple thing. And for Cooper, that was one we had to do. If you throw the blocks, they go away. And I just had a picture of, here's how we play. If you throw, Miss Julie's going to put him in the bin. He screamed at me. He yelled at me. But I had the picture out, and he'd come in. And before we walked into that room, I'd say, Cooper. And I need to get more pictures of him coming in and go, if I throw them, you'll take them away? Yes, Cooper. And we just kept adding more and more like pictures. I did one where there was a kid like this, and I said, that's what you look like. And I would tell him things like that. I'm like, when you're doing this, and he'd look at it because it goes back to that first page. He had no idea. And so at 3, you guys, he's starting to go, oh, okay, I can ask for help. I can do other things. I can go get my blanket. I can go get my water. And so he has what? Strategies, which was that third order where you want them. I have strategies to take care of myself because Miss Julie and my mom have helped me get these things in place. Now he's able to go to preschool this year. We finally tried it this year, and I said everything I could, and I begged. He's doing well. And I mean, that's a huge success because he's a little boy who would have not, I mean, we were fearful. And he is doing beautiful. And it was some of these real simple things, you guys, that we did. All of this pretend play, this is your last part of strategies, was pretend play. And I think the more and more we start reading about play and the importance of play, as an occupational therapist, and people say, okay, what does occupation mean when you're with a child? What's his job? His job is to play. His job is to be a peer. His job is to grow up. And we're taking away so much play. I have no control over it because we're doing a lot of academics at an early age. Play is so important. That's how we get support from our peers. That's how we play different roles. And so if you read this, pretend play does what? It builds your memory. They have to hold a role and they have to stick to it. So you play mommy, you've got to stay with the mommy role because we're playing pretend. It builds inhibitory control. It increases flexibility because things are constantly changing when you do pretend play, right? And so you get more flexibility. So this is so important for these children. They want to quit. Children who have some regulatory problems, I think, tend to want to stay away from pretend play because do you remember that third order said language was so important and strategies? You'll know that you're starting to see better self-regulatory with these group of kids when you see that pretend play get stronger and stronger. Because what are they doing? They're moving outside of themselves. Because these kids are so stuck inward. They're really on survival mode. Pretend play allows them to get outside of that. So pretend play is one of those real important things, and we have to move those kids into that area. They're not going to go to it naturally, but it's a great time to do some modeling with them. It's a great time to say, oh, I see you're mad, you know, that angered you. So there's lots of good teaching in pretend play. So here's just some things to ask yourself. I'm doing this after each little segment, like sleep. Ask yourself, are you doing this? Calming strategies, ask yourself, do I have this in place? For this, ask yourself, you know, do I demonstrate the role for the kids? Do I have a variety of pretend? Do I make sure they have that I know they're going to this area so that I can keep track of that? So that's a real nice thing you can do is over here is you're almost done or you've had a turn at this, now it's time to move, and so that the other kids move out of that area and we direct these kids to here. Getting myself choked up here. All right, we're at the end, you guys. What we have now is these are just some references and some things for you as you leave, maybe that you might want to look at and see if you think it's something you might recommend to a family, you might put in place in your homes, your preschools. Wonderful, wonderful books that are also helpful. And this is all in your handouts. And if you go online, I think this is all online, so you can download this if you happen to have not done that when you came. This is available to download. Simple mood thermometer, and then more related websites that Miss Caroline and I had put together from our last workshop. Okay? So, the end. That was it. So I thank you guys for coming. Hopefully you got a lot of information today. You know, synopsis, go look at some things regarding emotional brain, look up some key brain structures, and then it really, really does help you become the detective and figure out what might be going on because you see the behavior, but you want to figure out how to help. Okay?
5 minutes for questions.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes for questions.
I just have one question regarding, you talk about the temperature. Are there temperatures different than ours? Because I know a guy who wants to wear a toboggan and a zipped up jacket and it's like so hot out.
That may related more to a tactile issue that he's trying to. If you have kids, the question was, are there other kids who have temperature differences because he wears a toboggan and he zips up? That's probably related more to a tactile issue, that I'm trying to keep my skin, keep everything covered so that the sense of touch isn't, that I don't respond to that. So it could be a tactile issue with that group of kids, okay, as opposed to a body temperature. I think more when I talk about body temperature, it's typically more these group of kids run hot, is what I see, yeah, versus the cold. It's more hot and clammy.
Right, get a coat,
Yeah. And they'll refuse the coats too a lot of times. The wintertime, they don't want to put the coats on. They'll fight you for it.
Okay, as the kids get older, they begin to have thoughts, interpretations of what's going on around them, and then the feelings come, as opposed to the feelings first and then the
Right.
thought, right?
Yes, that can happen.
So,
Do you want something for older children? I brought this book. No, I'm just going to give you a book reference because it's not in here, because I always get this question because this is geared towards, young children. But there's this, and this is fairly new out there. It's called the Zones of Regulation. Some of you may have heard something that OTs came up with that was called How Does Your Engine Run? I will tell you that I love this even better. It's called the Zones of Regulation. Oops, it's upside down. It is self-explanatory. It has a CD in here that you can take worksheets off of. It increases children's self-awareness of behavior. It gives them, is this a big problem, a little problem? This is such a wonderful program. You can
as older kids
you
too.
can adapt it to younger kids. We've done it for younger, but it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful program. Okay? Like I said, it has a little CD inside. So if you get your hands on this, it's a nice self-guided. You can do it yourself.
Who's the author?
The author is Leah, Kuypers. Coopers, Kuypers. And I'll leave it out here. And I brought this at the last minute because I thought somebody's going to ask me about older kids, so that would be a great program. Yeah.
I may have missed this, you may have said this, but when Cooper's assistant, when you first introduced that card and he was really angry and agitated about that, didn't want to follow it, what's the follow-up step to that? Like if the kid rips the card up and...
They're going to. We would get very, very quiet, and what I would do is he would come after me. He would literally, I always stood up so that I could make sure that, I'm out of the range. But there's something about once you stand up and you kind of get that authoritative figure, I didn't talk to him. I just stayed. You can be mad or sad, and I would repeat it. He would rip it or take it. We'd put it back up. You can be sad or mad. You cannot hit, kick, or scream. And we had to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it because he did get mad and he did kick and he did all of those. But that's all we did. We stayed very, very calm and did not give the attention until stop crying.
So if you had a child who was having aggressive behavior, you said most of his behavior was screaming.
There was
You had a child that-
kicking and hitting and
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you had a child who was like throwing stuff, that kind of thing, you would do the same pattern.
right. Well, if they're throwing, you've got to remove them from that situation, and you can. And I've had to do that with the kids. But remember, I've got that picture everywhere. So if I would remove him from the space where things are being thrown, I know that as soon as I turn to this way, I'm saying, his card may say you can be sad or mad, you cannot throw, and just deal with the one. You can ask for help. You might want to add a second strategy that says you can go to your quiet place, or you can, and that's what we'll do with some of the kids is let's go somewhere else. Let's get out of this area, and that's a strategy. Okay, does that make sense to you? Because we do have one little boy that says you can be sad or mad, you can't throw, you can ask for help, or go to, I forget what Ariane called it. She didn't say safe zone, but I think it was your special place, and it had a teddy bear. And so we would go over to that area and keep teaching them. Here's where you can go if you're upset, but you cannot throw. Okay, so you see, we don't use a lot of timeout, and it's been very successful. I mean, you have to use timeouts, but we're doing more support, because if I'm doing timeout, the fire's already happened. See, and so that's my premise, is I'm trying to help people understand the neurology and physiologically how those bodies change for those group of kids. Okay? Yeah.
Typically, how long do you usually do this training, and like to? I want to know how much.
You mean this training or with Cooper?
with you, like what do you charge and stuff like that to do?
Well, you can get with Walt and have him repeat some.
What typical hours do you? Because this is not enough. 3 hours.
No, and that's what we say. In 2 hours, that's really all we can do is kind of scratch the surface. Thank you. Yeah, and hope that you'll say, oh gosh, can we do something more in depth? Can we do something longer? Because there are things that we can break down longer. We have videos that show classrooms, actually, and things in place so that it gives you more of a visual, because that's how people learn. It's like, no, look, this is what it looks like. So, but in this one, yeah, we can just kind of make you get interested, which is perfect, because I see you guys going, yeah, let's learn more about this. Yeah.
I also had difficulty trying to download or even print the slides, because I had to go into some digital Dropbox, go through this email thing, and password. I had difficulty, it wouldn't let me print it.
And I think if you'd have trouble, I guess just get a hold of Walt and they'll figure that out.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
We have a question in Bowling Green.
Yeah.
What would you do with a 5-year-old student who basically doesn't have any behavior issues except just will not do anything? He sits, he has his fingers in his mouth all the time. Nothing seems to motivate him. They try to see what antecedents are towards this. They can't figure out what it is that's causing this. I mean, there's just no motivation, nothing.
At age 5? Gosh. Do you remember when we first started talking, we talked about those are the group of kids, which this is so extreme it sounds, though, that he's not under the radar. You might want to look at something called motor planning or praxis. There could be some underlying sensory processing issues where that child's totally dampened and in shutdown. So if that's the case, you'd have to have an occupational therapist observe that child, gather some information, do some testing. That's real possible. That could be what's happening. Kids who have motor planning and praxis issues can't play. They don't have what we call ideation or plans to create it. Cooper was that way when we started, but he was the screamer, but he had no play skills. He would just run and scream and throw things. So we had to build up that whole motor planning by keeping the same item and repetition. You saw him. He laid on the floor for the longest time just watching the trains. Mom was convinced it was autism. When you looked at him, you could have seen that, but it was not. He's doing beautiful now. But that's what I would tell you to rule out first is sensory processing issues where they're so hypo-dampened or motor planning praxis issues. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right.
Do we have any questions from the other sides?
Anybody else? Are we good? I think we're good. Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you.